सीधा रुक करते हैं इंडिया डिजिटल फेस्ट की ओर, जहां पर हमारे साथ अब जुड़ गए हैं दीप कालरा, चेयरमैन मेक माई ट्रिप।
Motivator at that point of time was fairly simple. At one side, it was to do my own venture. I'd worked with 3 different companies, ABN AMRO, AMF Bowling, and GE Capital. And I don't think I was entirely satisfied working for a company, although they were wonderful companies, but there was something inside which probably was driving me to do my own thing. But more importantly, it was an introduction to the internet, both formally and informally. So informally, those of you who were, I think, old enough to be tinkering around on the internet in maybe '99 in India, when Akhil's company had not really given us very fast broadband. So it was 128 Mbps, really slow connectivity, dial-up modems, that horrible noise and breakdowns, etc., all the time. So yeah, I think I was a child of that era. But even then, despite the painful experience of staying online, even then, it was clear that this is something which is going to change everything. It was like a huge force. There was something like which has not happened, at least in my lifetime. I was 30 then, and I was saying, this is amazing. It also afforded the opportunity of someone with probably little capital, because I was a professional from a service family, to do something, to dream of doing something of his or her own. And you could do it with little capital. Yes, venture capital was available way back then. Then we went through the drought of the dot-com bust, which is another story for another day. But those were the drivers. And why travel? My thesis at that point of time was things that are largely being transacted, products and services that are being transacted on the phone, are most likely to move online first. And so it was either online stockbroking for me or online travel. And maybe by training, I was closer to online stockbroking, but the heart and passion was in travel. And you never met your travel agent, maybe once a year on Diwali, but you called them up, they booked your tickets for you, they sometimes made reservations for you, someone came to pick up the check. And that was the way the business was transacted. That was ready for disruption. So yeah, we took that pioneering step way back in 2000. Yeah.
Right. Today, Deep, India is a huge success story in terms of, online transactions and the sheer number of people who are online, which is actually expected to cross 1.2 billion by the time we reach 2025. Standing here today, what is your sense? The new technology, 5G, 6G, AR, AI, how are they going to shape the future of travel and tourism industry?
I think we have to take one quick step back, and we have to firstly fully appreciate what is different about travel from other goods and services that are sold online. Firstly, and most importantly, travel is perishable. So therefore, if today this hotel doesn't sell, let's say, 20% of their rooms, that 20% is gone forever. So there is incremental benefit in selling every last room and for an airline to sell every last ticket. Now, why doesn't that happen? Because why don't you get the cheapest tickets on the last day? We all ask, in fact, now there are questions in Parliament, why are tickets so expensive? It doesn't happen because big brands don't want to dilute their brand position. So, but they do it wisely, they do it smartly. The lowest prices are available either very early on or sometimes last minute for certain kind of brands who are quite happy to sell some tickets in the end last minute. So products are perishable. Secondly, travel products are not like any other products where they don't occupy a space in your house, whether on your kitchen shelf or in your bathroom shelf or in your cupboard or wardrobe. They're very different because they actually occupy a piece of your mind and time. So when people say, hey, when I'm going and buying something else, let's say on Amazon, on Flipkart, I might want to buy something travel. It doesn't happen. And we've tried it many times. It doesn't happen because you don't say, I'm buying a mobile phone, I'm buying a mobile phone cover, a charger, an aftershave, blah, blah. I need all of this. Oh, guess what? Nice ticket, let me buy it. It doesn't happen. You go and book a ticket or book a hotel room only when you're ready for travel and you commit to time. So these two things make the influence of technology very, very potent on travel. Till 1960, all airline tickets were manually done and there was no system. So the first GDS or global distribution system came up in 57, 60 in the US. Imagine at that point of time, if you were booking a ticket, let's say on even Air India, from Delhi to London or Delhi to Bombay, and you were sitting in Calcutta while booking it, which could well happen, they had to make many calls to understand, do we have enough tickets available on my stock? And they could never be a perfect or an optimal solution. Technology changed that. Then more advances came in technology, but the biggest advance and the biggest impact really, I think, has been the web, the internet, and then of course mobile phones, smartphones, and now we'll talk about AI, because fundamentally they have helped suppliers, again, airlines, hotels, railways, bus operators, car operators, to optimize and maximize the revenue yield that they can get on their perishable inventory. And that's most important. At the same point of time, the other stakeholder in the game is all of us as consumers to get the best deal given the circumstance, what's happening, to get all the options as you see. Today it seems like pretty easy to do, but I can tell you building the first direct connect with an airline was one hell of a job. It took, I kid you not, close to 6 months to convince Air Deccan, which was the first low-cost carrier that we tied up with way back again in I think 2004, 2005, to convince them to give inventory through a direct connect because they actually didn't know what that was. And I remember sitting with Captain Gopinath, convincing him about these plans. After 20 minutes, he told me, I have to tell you, I was drawing on the whiteboard. He said, I haven't understood a word of what you've said, but let me call my CTO in and I'll give him the go-ahead to do what you want to do. And then the next one took several weeks, and then finally it became a cookie-cutter model. But fundamentally now these airlines could optimize yield and could hope to optimize revenue as well. Similarly with hotels going online. So technology's impact, what has happened in the past is huge, but what's going forward is also going to be quite amazing. And as we get into the new exciting realm of the stuff that you guys are talking about today, which is data science, which I think is the bedrock really, data science and machine learning, which is the bedrock of what we use today, AI, which is obviously the most exciting term around here.
Right. Deep, also, globally, if we look at the travel and tourism industry, you know, it almost contributes more than 11% of global GDP or world economy. In India, as we catch up with technology and as more and more Indians migrate to being online, do you see the market share of travel and tourism industry going up in the overall contribution to GDP?
It should, you know. 11% is a very big number as a contributor to GDP. It's also, by the way, about the same 10 to 11% of jobs created. So it's actually one of the sectors which plays to our advantage as a country, as an economy. So firstly, we have to keep in mind that India, I think, is bestowed with natural beauty, natural places, cultural, historical, probably more than any other country in the world. That being said, I think we've done quite a sad job of promoting ourselves the way it should be. We rank number 22 or 23 in the frequently visited, like in countries traveled to, which is sad for a country our size. Why doesn't it happen? We can say our marketing is not great. I tend to disagree. I think Incredible India has been a fantastic campaign, etc. I think it's perception, which is not far from reality. So firstly, India is perceived as sadly an unsafe place for a lot of foreigners. So either you get two kinds of travelers coming to India. Either they come with the high-end travel, which is, you know, rose-tinted glasses, you come, you stay in 5 stars, that's a thin sliver. Till recently, pre-COVID, hotels used to love and only look at these customers. I can tell you it all changed during COVID. It's the domestic traveler who's spending more, and now every hotel says domestic is the most important. Or you have backpackers. But you don't have the middle class. So a middle-class American or a middle-class European traveling to India as one of their first choices doesn't happen automatically. It's considered an exotic place, but also a risky place. So we have to change that. The second thing which we don't have, I think, is easy infrastructure last mile. I think we've got now a lot of infrastructure happening in terms of new airports, in terms of wonderful new roads, but the last mile is still lacking. Therefore, when we are in season, every hotel you'll see the hotspots get choked up. And, you know, we're putting a lot of pressure on them. So I think we have to change that. If we manage to